Let me ask you something, and I want you to be really honest with yourself. Have you ever achieved something you really wanted? A goal, a relationship, a milestone, something you worked hard for. And then, once you got it, the feeling wasn't what you expected. The peace you thought it would bring didn't really come. Or it came briefly, and then faded. And you were already thinking about the next thing before you'd even fully arrived at this one. Or maybe it's the other version. You haven't achieved the thing yet. And you tell yourself that once you do, once you have the job, the money, the relationship, the body, the recognition, then you'll finally be able to relax. Then you'll feel okay. Then the restlessness will stop. But somewhere underneath all of that, there's a quiet question you've probably never said out loud. What if it doesn't? What if I get there, and it's still not enough? What if the feeling I'm looking for isn't actually there? That quiet question is one of the most important ones you can ask, because the Stoics asked it too, 2,000 years ago, and they found an answer, not a comfortable one, an honest one, and the honest answer changed everything about how they lived. Stay until the end. I'm going to give you the Stoic method for finding genuine peace, not the kind that depends on everything going right, but the kind that's actually available to you right now, today, in your real life exactly as it is. This is the Season 2 finale of the Stoic Reset. We started this season by finding the stories that keep people average. We faced fear directly and stopped letting it make our decisions. We broke the overthinking cycle with 2 simple tools. And last episode, we talked about how to build the mental toughness to carry all of it through hard times. This episode is the one underneath all of that. Because none of the other work fully lands until you answer this question. What are you actually working toward? Not the goal, not the milestone, the feeling. What does a good life feel like from the inside? The Stoics had a very specific answer, and most people have never heard it. If this series has been doing something for you, subscribe now and hit the bell, because Season 3 is the Stoic Warrior, and it takes everything from Seasons 1 and 2 and brings it into the hardest, most real terrain of all. You want to be there from the start. Part 1. Why peace keeps moving. Here's the pattern most of us live in, and I want you to see it clearly. When you were younger, peace felt like it would come when you figured out what you were going to do with your life. Then you figured that out, and peace was going to come when you were stable. Then you got stable, and peace was going to come when you achieved something. Then you achieved it, and peace was going to come when you were truly recognized. Then you were recognized, and peace was going to come when you had enough money. And then enough money when you had the right relationship. And then the right relationship when the relationship was easier. And on and on. The goalpost keeps moving, and the peace you're chasing keeps staying exactly one thing ahead of where you are. This is not a personal failure. This is how the human mind works by default. Psychologists call it the hedonic treadmill, the tendency for people to return to a baseline level of happiness, regardless of positive or negative life events. You get the thing, you feel good, you adjust. The new normal is the old normal plus one thing, and now you need the next thing. The Stoics didn't have a word for it, but they saw it everywhere around them. Wealthy people who were miserable, powerful people who were afraid, famous people who were empty. And they asked the question that most people avoid. What if the problem isn't what you have or don't have? What if the problem is where you're looking for peace? True happiness is to enjoy the present without anxious dependence upon the future. Seneca, Letters to Lucilius. Enjoy the present without anxious dependence on the future. That second part is the key. Most people can enjoy the present for a moment. A good meal, a beautiful evening, a moment with someone they love, but they can't rest there. The mind pulls toward what comes next, what needs to be done, what could go wrong, what still isn't right. Seneca was describing a kind of peace that doesn't depend on what's coming, that lives in the present moment as it actually is, not as we wish it were, or fear it might become. And that kind of peace, he argued, is not something you wait for. It is something you practice. Part 2. The Stoic Diagnosis. Where peace actually lives here is the core of the Stoic understanding of peace, and it is both simple and deeply uncomfortable for most people to accept. Inner peace cannot be found in external circumstances, not in achieving things, not in acquiring things, not in other people behaving the way you want them to, not in the world going the way you planned. This doesn't mean those things don't matter. A good relationship, financial security, meaningful work, these things genuinely improve a life. The Stoics weren't saying none of it matters. They were saying none of it is sufficient. None of it by itself produces peace, because you can have all of it and still be restless, and you can have very little of it and still be genuinely at peace. The proof is all around you. You know people who have everything and are not happy. You know people who have very little and are not miserable. The external circumstances are not the determining factor. Something else is. The Stoics said peace lives in one place and one place only, in the quality of your relationship with your own mind. Specifically, in three things. Whether you are living in alignment with your actual values, doing what you believe is right, not just what is expected or convenient. Whether you have released your grip on the things you cannot control and put your energy where it actually belongs, and whether you are genuinely present in your life, inhabiting the moment you're actually in, rather than living in the future you're anxious about, or the past you're still processing. Marcus Aurelius came back to this again and again, not because he had mastered it, because he kept losing it, because running an empire, fighting wars, losing children, dealing with betrayal, all of it constantly pulled him away from his center, and every morning he wrote in his journal to find his way back. Nowhere can man find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in his own soul. Marcus Aurelius, Meditations his own soul, not the villa outside Rome, not the moment when the wars were finally over, not when things calmed down. His own soul, available to him always, but requiring daily effort to access. That is the Stoic secret. Not that peace is easy, but that it is internal, and internal means it cannot be taken from you by external events. It can only be abandoned by you, or reclaimed by you. Part 3. The three things that steal your peace. This is the most universal source of human suffering, and it is so normal that most people don't even recognize it as something that can be changed. Your partner isn't who you wish they were. Your job isn't what you imagined. Your body doesn't look the way you want it to. The timing is wrong, the circumstances are unfair, the weather is bad, the traffic is terrible, and in the background of your mind, constantly, is this low-level friction between what is and what you think should be. The Stoics called this the source of all unnecessary suffering. Not the circumstance itself, the resistance to it. This shouldn't be happening that runs on top of everything that is happening. They weren't saying accept everything passively. Change what you can. Work toward better. Of course. But while you work toward better, don't let the gap between now and better be a constant source of pain. Don't live in a state of resistance to your own life. Accept the things to which fate binds you, and love the people with whom fate brings you together, and do so with all your heart. Marcus Aurelius, Meditations 2. Love what is. Work toward better. These are not contradictions. They are the two halves of a sane relationship with reality. Think about how much mental and emotional energy you spend on this one. Not just worrying about what people think in an obvious way, but in all the small ways it runs underneath your decisions. What to say and not say. How to present yourself. Whether to take the risk or stay safe because of what it would look like if it failed. Whether to speak your honest opinion or give the one that's easier to hear. The need for approval is one of the most reliable sources of inner noise, because other people's opinions are never fully in your control. They shift, they contradict each other. They say one thing and mean another, and if your peace depends on them, if you need their approval to feel okay about yourself, you will never have a stable foundation. You will always be one comment, one reaction, one perceived the slight away from feeling unsettled. Epictetus, who had no status, no freedom, no external approval available to him, understood this at the deepest level. If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid with regard to external things. Epictetus, Enchiridion. Be content to be thought foolish. Not seek it. Not enjoy it. But be content with it, meaning, let it not be the deciding factor. Let other people have their opinions. That is their business. Your business is living in alignment with what you actually value, and those two things will sometimes conflict. The person who has made peace with that conflict has a kind of freedom most people never experience. The anxiety lives in the future. The resentment lives in the past. The restlessness lives in the gap between where you are and where you think you should be. And the actual moment you're in, this one, right here, passes largely unnoticed. Think about the last time you were really, fully present. Not going through the motions, not thinking about something else, not planning, or replaying, or worrying, just completely here, in the thing you were doing, with the people you were with. For most people, those moments are rare, and we call them meaningful. We call them the good times. We look back on them as what life was actually about. But they were just ordinary moments where you happened to be fully there. The practice of presence is not mystical. It is the deliberate choice, made over and over, to put your full attention on where you actually are. Not where you wish you were, not where you're afraid of ending up. Here, now, this person, this conversation, this meal, this work, this moment. Confine yourself to the present. Marcus Aurelius, Meditations 4 Words, a complete philosophy of peace, not because the future doesn't matter, not because the past has nothing to teach, but because life, the actual experience of being alive, only ever happens right here. And every moment you're not here, you're missing it. Part 4. What inner peace actually feels like. I want to be clear about something because the word peace can sound passive or even boring to people who are ambitious and driven. Like peace is what you have when nothing matters anymore, when you've given up, when you've decided to settle. Stoic inner peace is nothing like that. Marcus Aurelius was at peace, and he was one of the most active, engaged, relentlessly working people in history. He wasn't peaceful because nothing mattered. He was peaceful because he had a clear relationship with what mattered and what didn't. He cared deeply. He just didn't need things to go a certain way in order to function. Stoic peace is not the absence of feeling. It is the absence of being controlled by feelings. It is the ability to be fully present in your life, to feel deeply, to care genuinely, to work hard, to love people, to pursue things, without your well-being depending on the outcome. That is the difference. You can want things without needing them. You can work toward outcomes without making your peace conditional on reaching them. You can be affected by life without being destroyed by it. That is what the Stoics were building, not detachment, stability, not indifference, groundedness. Fred Rogers, who built one of the most beloved television programs in history, who spent decades speaking to children about difficult emotions, who was known by everyone who met him as a person of extraordinary gentleness and presence, was once asked how he maintained his calm in a world that often wasn't calm at all. He said something simple. He had learned over many years to distinguish between the things that were his responsibility and the things that were not. He couldn't control how the world was. He could control how he showed up in it. He couldn't guarantee that his work would reach the right people. He could make the work as honest and as good as he was capable of making it. And once he was clear on that line, once he knew what was his and what wasn't, he found that most of the anxiety that used to follow him around had nothing left to grip. This is the Stoic dichotomy of control, which we introduced in Season 1, Episode 1, and which comes full circle here. It is not just a decision-making tool. It is the foundation of peace. When you are genuinely clear on what is and isn't in your control, and you stop spending energy on the wrong side of that line, something quiets. Not because life gets easier, because you've stopped fighting a war you were never going to win. This is where Season 2 ends. And I want to show you the arc of where we're going. In Season 1, we built the outer game. Attention, emotional control, discipline, a clear relationship with wealth and purpose. In Season 2, we went inside. We examined the stories, the fear, the overthinking, the mental toughness, and today, the foundation of it all, inner peace. Season 3 is the Stoic warrior. And that name might sound intense, but the warrior the Stoics described was not someone who conquered others. It was someone who had so completely mastered themselves that nothing external could move them from who they had chosen to be. The first episode of Season 3 is Why Great Men Embrace Pain. And what you'll find there is that everything we've built across these 2 seasons, the focus, the emotional control, the discipline, the mental toughness, the peace, it all points toward the same thing. A person who can face anything, not because they feel nothing, because they built something inside them that holds. That is the warrior. And Season 3 is where we build them. The practical solution, the daily peace practice. Here is the practice. It builds directly on everything we've done in this series. It takes about 5 minutes, and it is the closest thing to a daily maintenance plan for inner peace that I've found. You already have the evening review from Season 1, Episode 1. Today we add a morning check and a single evening question to complete the loop. 1. Morning. What am I making my peace dependent on today? Before the day starts, ask yourself, what is the thing today where I'm telling myself, I'll feel okay once this happens? The meeting that goes well, the message that comes in, the decision that gets made, the number that changes, whatever it is, name it. Because the moment you name it, you can ask the follow-up, is my peace actually dependent on this? Or is this something I care about and will work toward, while my peace stays with me regardless? This question, asked every morning, will slowly change your relationship with outcomes. You stop needing things to go a certain way. You start showing up to your life from a place of stability instead of anxiety. 2. Evening. Where did I lose my peace today and why? Add this to your evening review, not to judge yourself, to learn your pattern. When did the restlessness spike? When did you feel most off-center? Was it when something didn't go the way you expected? When someone reacted in a way you didn't want? When you spent time in the future or the past instead of the present? Most people lose their peace in the same 2 or 3 situations, over and over. When you can name those situations clearly, you can prepare for them. You can catch yourself earlier, and eventually, you can stay grounded through them. 3. The single daily act of presence. Choose one thing in your day, just one, and do it with your full, undivided attention. A meal, a conversation, a walk, a piece of work. Whatever it is, be completely there for it. No phone, no background thinking about something else. Just this, fully. This is not meditation. It is a practice of presence built into an ordinary moment, and over time these moments accumulate. What starts as one deliberately present moment per day becomes 2, then 5, then a way of moving through the world. The Stoics call this living each day as a complete life in itself, not a step towards something, the thing itself. Morning question, evening reflection, one moment of full presence. That is the practice. And what it builds over time is not the absence of difficulty. It is the ability to be difficult things without losing yourself. To be moved without being swept away. To care without being controlled by what you care about. That is peace, not the peace of having everything you want. The peace of being fully, genuinely, stably yourself, no matter what is happening around you. Begin at once to live and count each separate day as a separate life. Seneca, not someday, now, not when things are better, in this day, in this life, as it actually is. That is the Stoic secret, and it has been available to you all along. Before you go, one thing right now. In the comments below, write one word that describes the kind of inner peace you're working toward. Not what you want to achieve, what you want to feel. Grounded, present, free, still, enough. Whatever word captures it for you. Write it. Because naming what you're actually working toward is the beginning of working toward it intentionally. And I want to see what this community is building. Think of someone who is chasing something right now, working hard, pushing forward, always on to the next thing. Who you can sense is looking for something that the next achievement probably isn't going to give them. Send them this episode, not to tell them to stop working. Just because maybe this reframe, this question of what you're actually looking for and where it actually lives, is exactly what they need to hear right now. Subscribe and hit the notification bell, because Season 3, The Stoic Warrior, is coming. And if you've made it through 2 full seasons of this series, you are exactly the kind of person who is going to want to be there for it. The first episode is Why Great Men Embrace Pain. And I promise you, it will not be what you expect. 2 seasons, 10 episodes each. And the whole time, underneath everything we've talked about, there's been one question running. Can you build a life that actually feels good on the inside? The Stoics said yes, but not the way most people try to build it. Not by getting the right things, or having the right circumstances, or waiting for the right moment. By working on the one thing that is always within reach: your mind, your values, your response to what happens, and your ability to be fully present in the life you're actually living. That is not a small thing. It is, in fact, the whole thing. Marcus Aurelius didn't have an easy life. He had one of the hardest lives of anyone who ever lived at that level of power. And still, in his private journal, you see a man who kept returning to something steady, something quiet, something that the chaos of his world could shake, but could not take. That is what 2,000 years of Stoic practice points toward. Not the absence of hardship, the presence of something inside you that holds. You've been building that thing. 2 seasons in. Season 3 is where it gets tested. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Marcus Aurelius, Meditations. Season 2 is complete. The Stoic Warrior begins next. I'll see you there.